So I see a lot of controversy, I guess, relating to the smut genre. And since that's the genre that I've been recommending mostly or mainly, then I guess I'm going to explain it to you anyway. Every time that I read smooth manga, webtoon, wherever, and scroll down to read the comments, I see that smooth stories are rubbish. Pretty much, most of them they pretty much follow the same plot lines as porn most of the times, like related to fantasy, to to this fetish, with some small changes here and there, but overall pretty much the same thing. And well, you have to agree that most of the people do not watch porn for the sake of the story, right? And I think the same goes for Smooth. Or so I used to believe. I realized that most of the people, or I don't know if most of the people, do indeed try to pay some level of attention to try to read this story. So what I'm going to do is pretty much trying to explain to you what happens in that genre. So the next time when you read the Smith manga, you can still tune your brain off, but understanding pretty much what's happening. First things. In that case, we're going to address the low category smooth, I guess we can call it, which are the most stereotypical ones that you can find. So the ones that are based on uh, work office stories, students, what else? One night stands. There are some variations that you can find. Like I've been looking at some of new ones that are based like around wrestling. A girl who falls in love with a wrestler, things like that. In those cases, we need either there are two types of female leads. One is the virginal innocent type, and the other that are present to us is the tsundere. I think you might pronounce it. Type. The one that shows that
Oh, I don't love you, but in reality, I do love you, but I haven't, realized my feelings, what my feelings are.
and the same goes with the male lead. So it's either the sexy bully kind, or there are also the innocent type. In this case, we will also just address, the heterosexual types of smooth. We're not going to address jury, no, neither Jawi, because I don't want to get started with smooth in jury content because it's just so blimey awful. It's just rubbish. It's awful. I was speaking with one of my friends and I told them how amazed I was relating to the plots in lesbian content versus the plots in monster furry content. I don't know, but lately they've been floating around a lot of one shots of furry monster content. People fucking monsters pretty much. And I told them these exact same words. How is it possible for someone who writes about monsters and humans, sealing the deal, doing the thing, and for the plot to be extremely better, wholesome sometimes, compared to something or someone that writes about lesbians? It's just baffling for me because it's like lesbians are not fantasy. They exist compared to monsters. How is it possible for you to write a better story about something that does not exist and that fucks a human rather than something that indeed exists? It's just awful. So but not let's not get into that discussion yet. The second thing that you have to consider whilst reading Smooth is that women desire is completely implicit. It's quite odd to see the female leads explicitly tell the male lead something like, I want this, or I want to, seal the deal with you. Either it's going to be hinted, they're going to give you clues that she wants this, but they're not going to explicitly tell it, or they're going to think about it, or the author is just going to simply make it as if they are experiencing these weird sensations, which is pretty much horniness, just being horny, but they didn't understand what is going on, so extremely innocent, like
Why I'm having this warm feeling in my belly whilst thinking about this guy that I like.
that kind of thing. And And what's going to happen, unfortunately, is that most of the times they are not going to take the initiative, they lead. And so it's the male lead who starts the whole thing, which is kind of unfortunate how it develops. And that leads us to our third part, which is continuing with the last one, is that the way the plot is planned, where you don't know what the girl wants, but the male lead does know, creates this weird void in consent, especially since we are hinted that the girl does want to seal the deal with the male lead. After that, the male lead takes the initiative, and surprise, surprise, the girls refuse. Most of the girls just refuse the advances, even though it was hinted before that she does wants it. When I mean hinted, is that in the bubble dialogue bubbles, I think it is. I don't remember how they are named, but the text bubbles that you see, you see that the girl is like, I'm here in the same room with the boy I like. I want to do, I want to kiss him, kind of those kinds of things, but they do not take the initiative. So the main lead reads magically the mind of the girl, knows that she wants something, and then they proceed to take the lead. But like I said, they refuse. And they start refusing with the body. So they start saying, no, no, I don't want to, no, stop. But in the text bubbles, you would see, oh, I really like this. Oh, why does it feel so good? So it makes you extremely confused, like, what do you want, right? So that's why I said that it creates this weird void in consent. And that's why so many viewers perceive these behaviors or the way the plot develops as rape, very rapey, sexual assault, etc., etc. The next part is the reasons on why they refuse, why she refuses the advances from the guy that she supposedly likes, that it's hinting to us that she wants it, but I don't know, she refuses. But because, one thing is being in the heat of the moment, and suddenly not wanting to, do it anymore, which is a completely valid excuse. I'm not talking, by the way, I'm not talking in real life. I'm talking just about about the plot of these mangas, not talking about real life. This is a plot. So it's a valid excuse to say that she doesn't want to, have sex with this guy anymore. But in this low theory smooths, it's quite weird implemented the sense of not wanting to have sex anymore. So one of the reasons I've seen mostly is not wanting to be perceived or to be seen as easy, to be seen as a easygoing girl. I don't know. I don't want to say like bitch, but I guess that you can use that word. But in other cases, it can be because of them being a one night stand and the female lead wanting to formalize the relationship, but not saying it because of other reasons. Obviously, they have to spark, to kindle this thing with a lack of communication, because that's the other thing. You will see a lot of lack of communication where they do not speak, which is extremely frustrating, but to have some elements to the plot to, spice it up. So I guess that's why. And it sometimes does work, but sometimes it just doesn't. It just becomes frustrating, annoying, repetitive. The other times when they refuse the advances is because of low self-esteem, since the male lead, they perceive this male lead of generally as this good-looking guy, this good at everything, sometimes even millionaire bloke. So they perceive themselves as I'm not worth of receiving the love or the desire of this man, right? That's the other thing. As a side note, you have to remember that even though the plot can be, better or whatever, or more interesting, more beautiful, I don't know, they still belong to the same category, you know, they still belong to the same genre. So I think those elements that are still that's what makes a genre, that some elements repeat. So I think you're still going to find parts of it that contain these points, so you might probably not like it, or maybe you do. So it's up to you at that point. And that's it. So what did we learn today? Absolutely nothing. So, but you can impress your friends with this knowledge, I guess, in your next, I don't know, party, encounter, reunion. I did wanted to dive a little bit more into these topics, but my computer starts to, have some issues, starts to crash when it needs to export videos that are over, past the 15-minute mark. So I have to leave it as it is. Aside from that, I wanted to know if you like smooth mangas, you read it, what do you think about this genre? Do you like it? Do you hate it? As most people. I think sometimes the stories in Smooth are even more enjoyable and well written compared to Jose, which is a huge statement because that speaks very badly of Jose genre. Even I have found romantic scene stories that are better than Jose. So that I don't know if you've have had that luck. I don't know, maybe I'm just lucky. So yes, hope you enjoy the video and see you on the next one. So bye.